Hello, welcome to Life's Little Things. I am cooking and sharing the freezer meals that I've been storing in my freezer. There was barely any meal prep because the bulk of it was already done. The recipes are with the videos linked below, so make sure you grab a hold of them. Let me show you how simple our dinners were this week. For tonight's dinner, I am making the Smoky pulled pork sandwiches, and I have thawed out my pork and I thawed out my sauce. But I'm going to just put the pork in the crock pot and the sauce will be added later. The pork is sitting in the sauce and it is ready to be cooked on low for 8 to 10 hours. I will see you back in just a second. Okay, mine has been going for about 7 hours. I'm going to take the pork loin out, and Jason is going to drain all the juices out of the pan for me while I am shredding up the pork. Now that the pork is all shredded, I'm going to add it back into my crock pot. And then I'm taking the reserved 1 cup of sauce that I had made and frozen separately. I'm going to add that into the pork loin. Now I'm gonna mix this in and then I will set my crock pot on low for 30 minutes. All right, so I just tasted this. Oh my goodness. We will definitely be having this again. It's amazing. But I just wanted to let you know I'm kind of cheating tonight with dinner because this was such an easy meal to make. Justin was so sweet and went to Kentucky Fried Chicken and got coleslaw. And that is what is gonna go on top of the pork sandwiches. And then for a side, we got mashed potatoes and gravy from there too. So, yum! Sometimes you just have to cheat a little on the cooking thing. Tonight's freezer meal that I am making is Herbes de Provence chicken. I just opened the bag and it smells good already. Wow. When I made this into a freezer meal, I was supposed to have this in a pan and then have the onions lining the bottom of the pan, but my chicken was frozen, so I didn't get to do that. I just put all the seasonings in with the chicken and just put it back in the freezer. I took a 9x13 pan and I sprayed it with cooking spray, and now I'm going to put it in the oven on 375 for 50 minutes. One of my sides, I'm going to keep it simple, and I am going to make rice-a-roni rice pilaf. For my other side, I am going to make this sage stovetop. Jason loves stovetop, so every time I make it, it's just a nice treat for him. So tonight for dinner is chicken teriyaki freezer meal, and this goes in the oven on 400 degrees for 45 minutes. It already smells good and it's not even cooked. For a side with our teriyaki chicken, this is a stir-fry vegetable that you buy a bag of it at Walmart. Super easy. It also comes with sauce, but we're not adding the sauce to it because we're gonna mix this in with the teriyaki chicken and the sauce that's on the teriyaki chicken. And then in the pan on the back of the stove, rice is sitting there getting all fluffed up. Tonight's freezer meal is shepherd's pie. Now, this is going to be kind of like a trial and error thing because I have never frozen my shepherd's pie before, and then I thought it all out, and now I'm going to cook it. So on the original recipe, it says 375 for 20 minutes, but I am going to go 375. I'm going to check it at 30 minutes because this pan is deeper than I've used before, and I want to make sure that it heats through. This is in a slightly frozen state still, so it might actually take an hour, but I have put it on a cookie sheet because there is gravy in here, and if anything bubbles over, it won't go into the bottom of my oven. The cookie sheet will catch it. So it ended up taking an hour to bake it because it was a little bit frozen, but it is all done and ready to scoop up onto our plates. This is a very easy freezer meal to prepare. All I have to do is dump these ingredients into my crock pot, set it on low for 5 to 6 hours, and then I think I'm going to make some rice in case anybody wants it over rice. But this is the Crockpot sausage and peppers, and I am excited to give this one a try. It has a lot of really good seasonings in it. So it took 6 hours for this to cook, and we were tortured by the smell because it smells so good. We ended up taste testing it, and oh, this is definitely a keeper recipe. It's got amazing flavor in that sausage. So I am just mixing a little bit of rice in with mine. That will bulk it up a little bit, and I am also going to have a slice of bread and butter too. Tonight's freezer meal dinner is going to be chicken pot pie. This is one of my favorite meals, and I am looking very forward to it. I always put my chicken pot pie on a cookie sheet just in case it overflows. It won't go all over my oven. The instructions call for 40 to 60 minutes. I'm going to start out with 40 minutes, but it usually takes the full 60. We never wait until it sets up, but it's still just as good. Tonight for dinner is an easy, pretty much dump and go crock pot meal of chicken cacciatore. I'm gonna put this in my crock pot, set it on low for 6 hours. For the chicken cacciatore, the pasta that it goes over, it had said spaghetti noodles, but I decided to do these ones. I had a little bit of 2 different kinds of basically the same thing, so I went ahead and just made up the rest of them, and we finished this style off, and that's what we're gonna have our chicken cacciatore on. This chicken cacciatore smells delicious. I'm sure it's going to be a definite keeper. It has chunks of carrots, tomatoes, onions, zucchini. It's full of flavor and deliciousness. Over the top, we are just going to sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and dinner is done. Tonight's freezer meal is the brown sugar meatloaf. Now, the recipe says to put the meatloaf on a cookie sheet in case you get any drips, but I'm going to take the brown sugar sauce that was reserved for this meatloaf, and I'm going to pour it all over the top of the meatloaf. Actually like almost like a syrup, so I'm gonna dump it out of this bag, and then I'm gonna spread it around on the top of the meatloaf so the whole meatloaf is coated with it. I had said that this is like a syrup. It's actually like a glaze. So now I'm going to put it in the oven on 350, and I'm going to cook it for 50 minutes. It actually might cook for an hour. For another side besides the corn, I am going to have these steam in the bag baby reds. They take about 6 minutes in the microwave, and then you just mash them up like normal, and you have mashed potatoes. It's nice, simple. I love it. The meatloaf just came out of the oven, and so it is supposed to just set for a few minutes, which is perfect because that'll give me some time to get the mashed potatoes and the corn cooked. I was going to make some brown gravy, and I don't have enough. So the boys are running to the store super quick to grab me a couple packets of the brown gravy powder. Changing plans with the brown gravy. The store has absolutely no brown gravy. No packets, no jars of brown gravy, nothing. All right, in the pantry, I found a can of beef broth. So what we are gonna do is we're just gonna make our own gravy with a little bit of cornstarch and water. I'm gonna bring this up to a boil and we will have gravy. I want to give you a good recap of the freezer meals that we had this week. The meatloaf ended up being good. You could taste a little bit of that barbecue sauce. It was on the sweeter side for a meatloaf, but it was definitely good. It is something I would make again. The only freezer meal that was like, wah, was the Herbes de Provence chicken. That was good, but everybody kind of was like, it's okay. And I think that's because I had made that freezer meal with already frozen chicken. I think if I'd had chicken that was thawed out and I would have frozen it properly and had all of the seasonings get all over that chicken, I think it would have been much better. So next time I make that, I'm going to follow the instructions to a T, and I wanna try it again and see if it's actually better than it was this time. And then the chicken cacciatore, that was really good. Jason actually said that the sauce of the chicken cacciatore was fantastic, and he said he would like to have us make that into a spaghetti sauce for a future spaghetti meal, so I will be doing that. Everything was really good. We enjoyed it, and I definitely will be making these meals again. I hope you grab the recipes below and give these freezer meals a try. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day.